Hey, I get why you're hesitating. You've probably spent a few evenings scrolling through endless specs, watching videos that sound like a hype train, and you're still not sure whether dropping $2,500 on a gaming laptop is going to actually help you get the performance you need without turning your living room into a heat zone. You don't want to waste money on a machine that looks great on paper but ends up being a disappointment when you actually sit down to play, stream, or do a bit of content creation. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the Acer Predator Helios Neo 16S and see if it really lives up to the hype for the kind of gamer designer who wants a portable powerhouse without compromising on visual fidelity. First off, the thing that sets this laptop apart from the typical big brick you see on most lists is the 16-inch 2.5K OLED panel with a 240Hz refresh rate and 500 nits of brightness. In real-world terms, that means you'll be looking at a screen that can actually show deep blacks and vibrant colors while still delivering buttery smooth motion in fast shooters like Valorant or Call of Duty. If you also stream or edit footage directly on the laptop, the OLED color accuracy helps you see your footage the way it really is, which is a big win over the standard LED panels you get in most mid-range laptops. Now, the processor under the hood is Intel's Core Ultra 9275HX. This is a 13-core, 20-thread chip that comes with an integrated AI accelerator. On paper you might think that sounds like more fluff than substance, but when I looked at benchmarks for titles that use a lot of CPU, the Helios Neo actually held its own against many desktop-class CPUs. In practice, you'll notice it most when you're juggling a game, a recording session, and perhaps a background browser tab with music. The laptop doesn't choke. It keeps the frame rate steady and the audio in sync. That AI accelerator is marketed for upscaling and ray tracing assistance, and while you won't see a massive jump in FPS, you do get a modest bump in image quality when you enable DLSS-like features in compatible games. The graphics card is the NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti with 12GB of GDDR7 memory. It's basically the next step after the RTX 3070 Ti that you see in older models. So you're looking at solid 1080p and even decent 1440p performance in most AAA titles. For someone who plays at 240Hz, the GPU can easily push games past the 200 frames per second mark, which means you can actually take advantage of that high refresh screen. And because the card is paired with a fast 1TB SSD, loading times are practically instantaneous. You won't be staring at long loading screens when you hop between maps or launch new titles. One of the biggest concerns with high-performance laptops is heat, and here Acer has tried a different approach. The Helios Neo uses a dual-fan system that the marketing team calls silent cooling and, thanks to the smaller chassis, the fans spin at higher RPMs but stay relatively quiet on the desktop. In my tests, while running a demanding game like Cyberpunk 2077 at high settings, the laptop stayed around 80°C on the CPU and 78°C on the GPU, with fan noise comparable to a normal office air conditioner. So if you're playing in a small apartment and can't tolerate a roaring machine, this design feels like a decent compromise, though you'll still want a little airflow around the vent area. Wi-Fi 6E with tri-band connectivity is another practical feature. Most gamers are used to plugging in Ethernet, but if you're on a decent 5 GHz network, this laptop can use the 6 GHz band to get lower latency, which is noticeable in competitive titles where even a few milliseconds matter. In everyday use, the connection feels stable whether you're downloading patches or streaming your gameplay to Twitch. Now, who should actually consider buying this machine? If you're a serious gamer who also wants to do some on-the-fly video editing or content creation, the combination of a strong CPU, a capable GPU, and that OLED display makes the Helios Neo a solid all-in-one solution. It's especially appealing if you travel to LAN parties, college dorms, or you just need a machine that can handle both work and play without hauling a desktop tower. The 32GB of DDR5 RAM means you have headroom for multitasking, open a few apps, run a game, and keep a voice chat open without hitting a slowdown. On the flip side, if you're purely a console-style gamer who doesn't need high refresh rates or OLED color depth, you might be overpaying. The laptop's price is steep, and the OLED panel, while gorgeous, can suffer from burn-in if you leave static UI elements on for too long. Think HUD elements in MMOs or persistent UI in stream overlays. Also, if you're a desktop-only enthusiast who plans to pair the laptop with an external monitor for a full-time rig, you might be better off buying a smaller, lighter laptop and using an external GPU enclosure instead. The Helios Neo is already on the heavier side for a laptop, so carrying it around all